Hey, what up guys? It's SPD Ghost 408 here, and this is going to be a video on game servers. Currently we're hosting two game servers for Arma 3. We're hosting a King of the Hill infantry only server, as well as a Wasteland Stratus server through ViLayer. When people get into game servers, basically they go to like a company like ViLayer. I've had some good experiences with ViLayer, despite all of their bad reviews. I've had nothing but good experiences with them. I'm not a compensated endorser or anything like that. But usually when somebody wants to do a game server, they'll go to here, go to game servers, and they'll pick the game that they want to play. And what ViLayer will do is provide a pre-packaged control panel, so the admin or server owner has to do little work to manage the server. As you can see, like an Arma 3 King of the Hill server, which can only be hosted through like 4 different companies like ViLayer, GameServers.com, and 2 other ones I can't remember. It's $1.21 per slot. I currently have a 60-person server, so it's 60 times $1.21 plus whatever fees they decide to add on. So if you want to get this type of server, you have to go through this type of program, which all this is providing you with is a virtual private server that has a prepackaged control panel on it, like I already said. So you'd go here, if my computer wants to work right. Pick your location of your server, East Coast, West Coast. If you're in a different country, you can do that. And then depending on how many players you want, I have a 60-person server. 60-person server is around $72. I don't want any branding on my server. If you have branding, you have to have ViLayer.com after your server host name. So I have no branding there, and I have high priority process on the server. So basically for around $75, $80 a month to run a King of the Hill server through ViLayer. Set up your host name, set up your Archon password, which gives you the opportunity to ban and kick people off the server. And if you want to have a private password for a private server, you can go that route. I don't. So after you set this up, you go to checkout, you pay for it. They'll send you an email saying your server's being provisioned, and then like a couple hours later or the next day you'll get an email saying your server has been completed. And this is what you'll get. You'll get this control panel right here, and these are the options you'll have. Configuration files, which are very limited. Your add-on manager, which you are very limited. You can view your log files, current activity and stats of the server. You can create great game tracker banners. You can purge all of these log files. You can check the current server time and time zone of your server. You get a King of the Hill manager. You can reset the Archon password. You can update Steam, community bans, King of the Hill. You can turn BattleEye on and off, and you can as well as use these third-party applications. So with that said, let's just go through what you can do with it. As you can see, like I said, for this virtual server, it's an Arma 3 60 slot. The only thing that's allocated is approximately 1 gigabyte of memory for this server. So let's go into the configuration files, and we'll show you what configuration files you can edit for this server. So you have two things, BattleEye extended controls and the default configuration files. These are the default configuration files right now. We'll get rid of that for a second just so we focus on the BattleEye. You have admin.xml, which I'll get into in a second. You have your BattleEye a main extended control file, which is where you set up all your anti-cheats and all that stuff. Commands, which I've never used, and the scheduler. And if you want to use whitelisting to whitelist players, you can. So I'm going to stop the video and we're going to go into admin.xml. Alright guys, so here we are in admin.xml, and basically this gives you the opportunity to set up your admins for your server. And basically all you need to do is enter in a name and the player's GUID that corresponds to his name. So and set the server group. So a server group 0 is the highest level server admin you can be. Server group 2 is like probably the next highest level, and you just set it up in this order. So basically you copy and paste from the admin to admin section, and just copy and paste and change the new ID number from 0, 1, 2, 3. However many admins you have, you just make that number go up with the different names and GUIDs. So pretty much that's the only options you can do for the admin.xml. So we'll go on to the next one. The next one that we can talk about is the scheduler. And the scheduler in BattleEye configurations, it basically gives you the option to have scheduled message come on at a certain amount of time. So as you can see, the one where it says no helicopter ramming, don't be an asshole, all rules are found at rollcallarma3.com. It basically says that at the start time, within a minute that the server starts running, every 23 minutes that message will run, and it will repeat continuously with the -1 loop. So every 23 minutes this message is going to pop up. And I have several other messages on there. So that's pretty much the scheduler XML file for BattleEye configuration. Alright, so the next file is the BEC config file, which is the main BattleEye extended control configurations. This is where you set up all of your anti-hacks and stuff like that. So basically, set which types of hacks you want on your ban list. The default value is 3, which is game hacks, BattleEye hacks, and both. So I have that set for 3. If you don't want that turned on, all you have to do is put a hashtag in front of it and that'll mark it out. You want that obviously activated because you want your server locked down to the best possibility you can. So these are pretty much all the configurations you can do for BattleEye. Like I said, very limited. So now what we'll do is that's pretty much it for the BattleEye extended controls, and we'll go to the default configuration files. And the first one we're going to go to is this first file, server configuration, and I'm going to get into a screenshot view of that to show you what that looks like. Alright guys, so this is the server configuration file for Arma 3, King of the Hill. Basically, you have the ability to put your host name, and that's what the players are going to see when they join into your server. You can set up your admin password, which is obviously blocked out, and you can have several of these Motd messages, which are basically messages of like when a player joins in, these messages will start popping up automatically and will only show up once when the server starts. The other configurations you can set up is with the King of the Hill with the in-game voice over IP. So basically people talking inside chat global. You can set that quality there, and in the very bottom line, infantry only, whether you want the server to be an infantry only King of the Hill server or whether you want it to be a standard King of the Hill server, and as well as the difficulty. So the next file we're going to talk about is the BE server config file, and this is the file that has where you are able to set your Archon password so you can kick and ban people, as well as set as the max ping for the server. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. Alright, this is it. Pretty simple. Archon password space whatever your Archon password is. I have mine marked out in red, and then max ping, which is max ping space whatever. My max ping is set at 300, so if anybody goes over 300 with a ping of 300, they get kicked off the server. So that's it for the BE server config file. So now pretty much that's it for the configuration files that you can edit. You can edit some of the stuff, whether you want the HUD displayed in the King of the Hill server. I mean, your options are very limited on what you can edit in the game. For the main King of the Hill configuration file, this is all you can edit. And basically you can only edit which maps are spawned in the game and the time of day that the game will start. So me, I have all my servers set to play on all the different maps, but daytime only, either in the morning or in the day. I don't like playing my server at night. So let's go back to the main menu, and I will show you the add-ons, which you only have 2 of them. You only have BattleEye Extended Controls, which is a must to have on any server, and Whitelister, which if you want to whitelist some players, basically if the server is full and a whitelisted player tries to join in, a player that's not whitelisted gets kicked off the server. It's kind of crappy, but that's the way it goes. So I don't have that installed. Basically the only thing I have installed is BattleEye Extended Control, and that's it for the add-on manager. You can check your log files of everything that's happening on the server. You can check the current activity and stats. You can check. You can create GameTracker.com banners for the server. You can purge all of these log files. Check the current server time and date. The Cough Manager, not too much to it. What type of mission type do you want to run? Infantry only or standard COF? That's all you get with that. Reset the Archon password, update Steam, update community bans, update King of the Hill. You can turn on BattleEye. You can turn BattleEye on and off, as well as use these third-party applications and go to the King of the Hill website. That's pretty much it with the King of the Hill server. Alright guys, so in closing, pretty much that's all you get with this prepackaged control panel with King of the Hill, which is perfectly fine if you're running a King of the Hill server. But if you want more options, the other Wasteland server, what I'm doing is I'm running that through a virtual dedicated server on ViLayer also for half the price. Now, as you notice on this server, I'm only getting allocated 1 gigabyte of memory, 933 megabytes to run this server on King of the Hill. Through ViLayer, if I wanted to, what I'm doing right now is I use a virtual dedicated machine, which allocates me 3 cores at 3.2 gigahertz, gives me 3 gigabytes of RAM, 150 gigabytes of memory, hard drive space, unlimited bandwidth, 1 IP address. It says a network speed of 100 megabits per second, but actually I'm getting 1 gigabit per second out of that, and I'm running Windows Server 2008 on it, and I'm doing it all for $42 a month. So it's actually pretty good, and that's not my location of my server. I think my location of my server is in Atlanta, but I'm going to get into that into the next video on how I'm running my Wasteland server, because that gives me a whole bunch more options to run whatever games I want. It gives me a whole bunch of options. If I don't feel like running a Wasteland server and I feel like playing a Rust server, I can run that through that VDS instead of being stuck with just the stock control panel through ViLayer for the Arma 3 King of the Hill. Basically, if you want to run King of the Hill, you're stuck with the prepackaged control panel, but if you run a VDS, you can pretty much run whatever game type you want or whatever game you want on that server. So with that said, I'm going to end the video, and I'm going to do another video on the VDS that I got set up for the Wasteland server and show you guys that in another video. Alright guys, this is SPD Ghost 408. I'm out.